This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, online at madeformoreliving.com.
All right, let's do it. Johnny, did you know that the number one baseball card sold for, guess how much? $6.6 million.
What?
Talk about a great investment.
That is an incredible
$6.6 million for a little piece of cardboard. It was a Honus Wagner baseball card from 1911. Did you collect baseball cards when you were a kid?
I did not. I had some Pokemon cards, though.
Pokemon cards?
Yep.
I don't know if those have any value right now. I don't think you'll be finding a Pokemon card worth $6 million.
We'll wait till, what is it, another 100 years or so? Maybe,
You never know.
My Charizard will be worth something.
And we have a special guest in the studio today. His name is Chad Francis. He's a financial advisor with Thrive Stewardship. Chad, thanks for being on the show today.
Glad to be here.
Welcome your experience and your expertise when it comes to investment. So, baseball cards, obviously, when we were kids, we thought they were a good investment.
Yep.
We go down to the corner baseball hobby store and I'd spend 25 cents on a packet of cards, hoping I'd find a Mark McGwire or a Jose Canseco, the Bash Brothers, and that it would be worth $100. And you know what I ended up doing? I went down to the baseball card shop when I was in my mid-20s and I sold the whole box of them for $20.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't have time to spend on this investment, and who knows how much it would be worth today.
You don't want to know, probably.
No, I don't, because some of them were even autographed.
Oh, man.
And I was thinking, oh, man. But, we go through life and we look at things that we feel are going to have a good return, things that we want to buy at a low price, and that as they age, maybe they will produce a great return on our investment. And one of those things we want to talk about today is a home, right? People wonder, is in today's economic climate a home a good investment? And that's why we have Chad on today. So what are your guys' initial thoughts on a home as a good investment? Is it a good investment?
Man, I'm a little bit controversial when it comes to this because obviously my job is helping people find homes. Like my family has a lot of heated conversations, especially coming out of the holidays, about is a home a good investment? And my gut reaction is a primary residence is typically not a good investment.
Really?
Yeah.
As your primary residence, explain what that means.
So that means that's where you're living. So when I think of an investment, it's something that's taking money either out of your pocket or putting money into your pocket. It's an asset versus a liability. And so what's your mortgage doing each month? It's taking money out of your pocket. Now here's where it starts becoming a good investment, is if you're going to stay in that home long term. You're going to stay in that home longer than 7, and you're planning on, like life happens, I get that, but 7 to 10 years, then all of a sudden it flips into being a bad investment to a good investment. But if you're like feeling pressured, hey, my family's sending me to buy a house, I don't even know what I'm going to do, I don't know if this is the job I want, if this is the place I want to live, I'm going to buy a house because it's what I'm told to do because I'm throwing away money each month on rent, then in my opinion, a home's a bad investment.
Okay, Chad, what do you think?
I'm just really surprised. I thought Johnny was going to be the other way on that opinion.
I know. I keep it quiet, but now we're doing it on the radio, so.
We're pretty closely correlated there. I think a primary residence, buying a home is a great investment, but it really does depend on that whole time frame. 7 to 10 years, that's on that longer side where you can expect to see some appreciation, recoup some of the costs that went into buying the home, and ride out any kind of market turbulence that could cause it to be a more expensive cost.
Exactly.
That makes sense to me. But what also makes sense as a home buyer is you're normalizing that budget. So every year that you're renting, you can expect that rent's going to go up and up and up. Whereas if you sign up for a mortgage on a home, at least that's something that's going to be steady. You know what it's going to be next year, 3 years from now. So that can really help you on a planning side of things. But to your tune, absolutely, it has to be a long-term decision.
So let's get a little personal here real quick. Chad, how long did you live in your previous home?
Previous home, 8 years.
8 years, boom. So we actually just helped Chad sell his house. And so you lived in it 8 years.
Yep.
We don't have to get into the details, but was it a good investment for you?
Absolutely was a good investment for us. We're still coming out of the tail end of the financial crisis of 08. We're well past it. It was 2015, but home prices still weren't anywhere near where they are today.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we got a great deal, but we waited a long enough time that we got to see compound interest work for us to where, hey, that home grew in value So we ended up selling for a lot more than we bought it for.
Yep. So that's what people always ask me. Should I buy a home? Should I buy a home? Is now a good time to buy a home? It's not about right now. It's about what's going to happen in 5, 10, 15 years in your life. Like if you're going to be doing the same job, if you're going to be in the same area, if you have a life plan that goes out 5, 10, 15 years, then buying a home could be a good idea. Because here's the economics of selling a home, buying and selling a home. When you buy a home, there's down payment and there's closing costs. Let's just say that's about 3-ish%. With the down payment, if you do a 3% down payment, let's say it's 4 to 5% together. Then you have to sell the home. On average, it's 8 to 12% to sell the home. So now let's just keep it simple math. You're up to 14% that home needs to appreciate just for you to break even. And we haven't even factored in interest. We haven't even factored in home repairs. Like all of a sudden that $400,000 home, now let's just say at a 15%, hard cost to sell the home, that comes out to 15% of that is, what is that? $50,000. That home needs to go up about $50,000 in order for you just to break even, like not make money, break even. And so if you're not, I feel so bad for like especially younger couples or people who feel like they're getting behind in life because they don't own a home, but their life hasn't led them to a place where it makes sense for them to own a home. Sure. And so if you're in that place, don't feel guilty, don't feel bad. You've probably made the best financial decision based off what Chad's saying, right, for your family up to this point.
Absolutely. And what a lot of people don't anticipate is that being a homeowner completely changes your whole dynamic. You don't just have a landlord to go, oh, excuse me, I have a problem here, come fix it. No, you are the fixer.
Right.
That's your job.
Yep. I have a buddy, he rents, and his heater went out, his water heater went out, and the roof started leaking all within the same week.
Wow.
Like thousands of dollars that landlord is going to have to pay to fix the property. And if you are the landlord, then that's coming out of your pocket. Mm-hmm. So there's pros and cons, but it's a long-term buy. So if you're thinking about buying a home and you're wondering if now's the market, now's not the question. It's what's going to be happening in your life 7 to 10 years from now.
So bottom line, you're recommending that a home is a good investment or it's not a good investment?
Bottom line, it depends. I know that's not black and white, easy to answer, but if you're going to be in the home 7 to 10 years, good investment.
But if you're looking at it long term, let's say you're going to be in the home for 25 to 30 years.
Then it gets even better. Then it gets even better. But that's the cutoff, 7 to 10 years.
Right, gotcha.
Depending on your interest rate, depending on a whole bunch, how much money you put down, depending on what's happening in the local economy, like 7 to 10 years. Like think about what was happening 10 years ago. So we were in 2013. We had 2 different presidents, right? The economic landscape was completely different. Minimum income was completely different. Like what was like the stock market was way different than what it is now. And so like 10 years is a long time because not only are you writing out appreciation and gaining value in that home, but you're also paying down the debt. And so if the market does correct in 10 years, you've had 9 years of appreciation, 1 year of correction, you still are not trapped in that home.
Gotcha.
Makes sense?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Because I know there's a lot of people listening right now and they're on the fence of whether or not they want to make that big leap and invest in a home, but they're not sure. Nobody knows the future. Mm-hmm. And so is it worth it to just take the leap of faith and go for it?
So it also depends on your financial situation, which is why we have Chad here. But like, so I know so many people, they buy their dream house and then they're house poor. They cannot afford a new car. They cannot afford to go on vacations. Like they can't live a more full lifestyle because every single penny they have is going into the home. And if somebody loses their job, they lose the home. And there's just so much stress around that situation. So I guess it really depends. Like Chad, what would you say would be a healthy payment each month to be going into, like percentage to be going into the mortgage?
Great question.
Because it used to be 25%, but I know it's much higher now, right?
That recommendation is still 25%.
Okay.
So 25% of that take-home pay should be your all-encompassing mortgage payment, principal, interest, property taxes, homeowner's insurance, HOA if you've got one, everything that gets roped into what it costs to stay in that home.
Because I know there's a lot of folks listening right now that it's 50%.
Yep.
And they're saying it's got to be that way.
Lenders will go.
I don't have any other options.
Lenders will go up to, I don't know about 50%, but I know in the 40s, they'll go up to 40%, right? And so like you can get a loan that will make you again house poor, and that just doesn't feel good. There's no hedge, there's no cushion for life. Like if life happens, an illness, a life, what do they call them? One of those life-altering circumstances, death, disease, divorce,
sure,
all those downsides and like all the different things that happen in life. Like if If all of your money is going into the house and you're locked into that for, again, 10 years, that's scary. That's not something we would recommend for somebody.
Yeah. So wrapping up this segment, a home is or is not a good investment depends on
how long you plan to stay there and how much money like you're committing each month to that mortgage payment.
Chad, any last comments for home being a good investment?
I would say that the timing ultimately depends on that person or persons, that married couple. When they're looking at a home, what does affordability look like? Can they make that payment? Is it around a quarter of your take-home pay? That should be the determining factor of, are you ready to buy?
Okay.
And take home, not gross. He's saying
Not
take
gross.
home.
All right, coming up in the next segment, mistakes people make before buying a home. You're listening to Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. I could be the only person who deals with this. Who knows? But do you ever set a goal and get frustrated because it depends on someone else doing their part? Oh my gosh, that drives me nuts. Well, that was the case for Mark and Julia, who wanted to downsize their home in El Dorado Hills, but their realtor friend just wasn't as quick and helpful as they wanted them to be. So they heard about Johnny Jennings with the Tom Daves real estate team, and they reached out to them. What a difference, because Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team were able to put their marketing to work, sold the home in 10 days with a free 40-day rent back. Now, Mark and Julia can move on without frustration, and they can do the same for your family. If you're curious what your home would sell for, go to tomdaves.com. Bam, right away you find out what kind of offers you would get and how much you would get if you wanted a cash offer, no matter what kind of condition your home is in. The website again is tomdaves.com, or you call 855-TOM-DAVES. License number 581837.